channel. Earlier today I went out to Kensington Metropark and played the famed Toboggan course. I'm currently actually at Black Locust, which are the two courses that are on the opposite side of the park. Got myself some lunch, got a little refresher, and I'm going to tackle Black Locust South. So without further ado, I'm going to send it over to Commentary Brandon. Hopefully I don't get rained on. I got a little bit of a sprinkle this morning out on Toboggan, not much. It definitely darkened up, but I feel like I might miss some of it. So here we go. All right, welcome from Commentary Brandon. So hole 1 is a par 4, 694 feet. My play off the tee is to go with an opto halo, a little flip up forehand. I like to be more on the right side of the fairway. Seems to open up the approach a little bit more for me. So here I am on the right side. Basket is pretty much center of the screen. I'm going with my gold line fuse on this shot, trying to just get it up in the air, have it float over. Unfortunately, I went a little too nose up and it kind of stalled out on me. But I have a look. So here we are. I believe this is probably around 50 or so. I had to straddle out a little bit. I did have that tree right there in my way. This is also the very first putt after lunch and, sitting for a little bit. I'm actually very surprised at how well it did come out of my hand and almost got the birdie 3 to start off the round. But simple tap in par, which I'll take. So hole 2, par 3, 339 feet. I know the tee sign says 286. I was going off U-disc. I'm not sure which one's right. It's around 300. I went for the forehand play with my VIP long bowman. Just wanted to snap it flat, which I did. Pured the gap, caught a very nice skip, and I actually saw it flare right behind the basket. I'm not sure how much of an ace run it was, but I did have myself a very simple birdie putt from probably about 15. So on to hole 3, 636 feet, another par 4. This one snakes. It bends left to right and then bends back right to left. So the play really is to just pitch a forehand around this first corner using my Opto Gladiator. I went a little high, but I got lucky. I missed the branches there. I put myself in a bad position with being as high as I threw it. This little tree there is really in the way of the line that I would like to take. So if I took the right side of the tree, it would just probably pull me too far right and I wouldn't be able to get back. So I'm lining up the left side with the Lucid Criminal. I'm trying just to get this a little bit of a flex, stall it up there, and have it drop. I got the height right. I thought actually I put it too tight, hence the head. I thought I clipped the wrong trees. Turns out I clipped the good trees, and it dropped me to like 10 feet. So depth perception was a little wonky. Hey, I'll take it, right? Hole 4, par 3, 330 feet. Again, I know the sign says something a little different. This is a dead straight shot. It does have a slight left to right slope that kind of pulls discs down to that side and into the tree line. But the basket itself is slightly right on the fairway, so you're really just trying to get a nice hyzer flip shot. I was going with my Opto Striker here. I'm just popping it on a nice little hyzer flip. I got great flex out of it. Really pushed that right side and wound up looking pretty solid. was actually a little further away than I thought I was, but not a problem. So looking good. I'm on a little turkey streak right now, heading into hole 5, which is the first of the new, I'm sorry, not yet. Hole 5 is actually an older hole. So it's 303 feet, par 3. This one's kind of a hit your gap and hope you get down there. So I'm going with a lucid verdict, throwing just kind of a high stall hyzer. And I missed that tree. That was the one I was worried about. That's the one that seems to get everybody. Like I said, it's just kind of a toss it up there and, you know, hope it happens. I did get hung up a little bit by this right side rough, and it kind of like pushed me off to the side. It didn't let me trickle all the way down, but I was still set up for a pretty good putt. A little bit downhill. I think I was at about 22 or so. Really happy to get that one. So I got 4 in a row now. Looking pretty good. Hole 6 is a par 3, 400 feet-ish. This one, actually, it's really hard to tell with this camera angle, but I couldn't put my camera behind me. So the hole sort of softly bends right to left and then straightens itself out. So here I was throwing a gold line ballista. I wanted to kind of get the wing up just a little bit and have it run that left side and then work its way back across. Came up just a little bit short. I think I might have actually caught that tree that I'm right next to. It was starting to fade in a little fast. But I'm still sitting at about 22 feet or so. And nail it. Keeping that birdie streak alive. So I'm going 5 in a row now. Feeling real good. On to hole 6. I'm sorry, hole 7. Hole 7, par 3, 379 feet. Plays kind of around 400, so you actually go up this ridge and then the hill trickles back down softly to the left. The shot is kind of a small Anheuser Flex. I'm going with the Opto Ballista Pro here. I didn't get enough onto it. I went a little nose up and I didn't get the wing up, so I knew I was going to stall out and hyzer fade off to the left, which I did. Unfortunately, I faded off really left. As you can see here, I couldn't put my camera in any position that you could see me and still see my shot. So I'm just kind of setting it up here. The basket is pretty much center frame. I'm trying to go with just a little flex shot on a forehand, just to get myself in a position. Which I did. The Justice didn't fully pan out for me. I think I snapped a little bit too much onto it. But I'm sitting here right about that 25-foot range then to save my par. Nail it. Heart of the chains. So I'm feeling good right now with my putting because I've been sitting around that 20 to 25, 27-foot range with a lot of stuff. And I've been hitting them, so that's good. So hole 8, 435 feet, par 3. This one's very similar to hole 4, in which it's kind of that hyzer flip to flat and have it run the right side. The basket is up on a slope. So I'm going with my Opto Striker here again. Unfortunately, I didn't get it quite to flat, so it did kind of hyzer off a little bit too early. So I'm left with this obstructed putt. Don't worry about that plant. That was a thorny plant. So I'm left with this pretty obstructed putt uphill, probably about 35, 37 feet. Knew it was going to be a tough one to go at. It does slope behind the basket too, so it's a little bit of a baby death putt. And just didn't commit to it at all. Faded off early the basket. Horrible dismount with the disc. And see, as you can see, I did trickle down that slope a little bit, so instead of what should have been probably a little tap in par save, I'm now sitting at that 20-foot range again, that 22-foot range, and this is a little bit uphill. But I did connect. So again, feeling really good with my putting. Hole 9, it's 308 feet, it's par 3. This one is a soft left to right. It looks like a dog leg. It's really not. The forehand doesn't really play all that well for here because it leads you too much to the right-hand side. It really calls for a backhand turnover shot that sort of pans itself back out. I'm going here with my gold line fuse, and I yanked it. I pulled it. I actually got through a little bit in that inside gap, which I was super surprised about. So I wound up looking at the basket, quite a ways away though. I'm pretty sure I'm outside circle 2. It is a little bit downhill. It was about this time too that the mugginess really started to pick up, so it made grip a little bit of an issue. Probably why I yanked my fuse a little bit, just worried about grip, and probably held on just a little bit too long. So I'm here running probably what's like a 70-foot putt downhill, trying to get that birdie streak going again. And not so much. Ran out of gas. But it's a pretty simple tap in to save my par, no damage done. On to the next one then. I'm a big fan of hole 10. It's 373 feet, par 3. It is another hyzer flip shape shot. The object it kind of throws over a gully, goes downhill, then back uphill. I'm going with my VIP long bowman because the object is to kind of flip it up a little bit and drive it into the hill on the way back up to the basket so it skips up. Unfortunately, I threw it way too low, so the skip never actually got up the hill. It peeled off to the left, and I got trapped in that tree line right here. You can see my disc just in the bottom corner, bottom left-hand corner there. I put myself in a terrible position. There was no good spots to get to. I couldn't even do like a floaty forehand. I couldn't straddle off to the side and do a floaty anhyzer. So what I was really just trying to do, I was looking at just powering through these leaves here, but even that wasn't going to work. So finally just chose the left side and went for it. I caught the rim and I shot down that hill a little bit. Came in a little bit too hyzer, I guess, or a little bit too flat on the rim of the cage, and it just shot me down. So I rolled backwards probably to circle's edge, maybe just a little bit outside. But now I'm staring at this significant uphill putt, probably plays to like maybe a 45-footer or so. I actually think this angle really shows you pretty good on how high that basket is above me right now. And just didn't get enough on it. So unfortunately, that's my first bogey of the round. It was actually this kind of putting that caused me to now change my putt style a little bit. I find myself being able to make a lot more uphill and elevated putts. So it was this round coupled with Toboggan a little bit. So hole 11 is a par 4. It's 525 feet. The object is to get to the top of that hill. If you can get to the left side, that's perfect. If you are on the right side or straight, it's not terrible, but you're going to have to throw a little bit more of an aggressive forehand. I'm going with my Opto Ballista Pro. I put it on a great hyzer line. I just missed the tree that I needed to, and I actually got a really nice skip then. It put me a little bit more left than I wanted to. I didn't realize that until I got up here. So the basket is actually behind basically that dark tree that's in the right center of the frame, but closer to that lighter tree that's in the center of the frame. So I had to go with a forehand with my Lucid Verdict and just kind of popped it up in the air and let it trickle its way down the hill. It's a pretty severe slope, so I didn't want to come in hyzer too much because it will kind of run down there. Also why I went with the verdict instead of a driver or anything like that. That mid-range isn't going to skip as much. But I did trickle down the hill. So I'm sitting here now with another elevated putt, probably at about 27 feet or so. So this is probably about a 33 to 35 foot putt with the elevation. Really had trouble trying to find some footing. There was a bunch of down sticks everywhere. And I had in mind, I just missed an uphill putt very similar to this. This one I didn't fully take a straddle stance. I kept it a little bit more staggered. And I think I was able to generate a little bit more pop on that. So got the birdie 3, which I was happy about. So got rid of that bogey. Hole 12, it's actually 420 feet, but they ended up having the sign stolen a couple times, so they changed it to 419.9 feet. It's a pretty downhill shot. The object is to just kind of hyzer flip something flat and have it run straight, hit the grass down there, and kind of scuttle towards the basket. I went with my Opto Ballista Pro. Didn't quite get it to flat, so I wound up more on the left side than I wanted to. I did have a look though. Ideally, I would have liked to have been at least even with that pine tree. On the left-hand side, I would have been fine with that instead of being kind of tucked behind it. So I'm looking at probably a 50, 55 footer that I have to anhyzer around this pine tree. Thought I gave it a good enough run. Fortunately, it just didn't hold the angle long enough. But pretty simple tap in. Hole 13, par 3, it's 325 feet. This is also one of my favorite holes on this course. It is another snake style hole, so it kind of bends to the right and then straightens itself out. I'm going with my VIP hatchet. It is the perfect disc for the shot. Just have to throw it slight hyzer at about 50-60% power and just let it do all the work, which, as you can see, parked it beautifully. There's old Pinky. Hole 14, par 3, 393 feet. It's the opposite of the last hole. So this one bends to the left and then straightens itself out and kind of finishes soft right. So I'm going with my Ballista Pro, the Gold Line Burst, trying to get that to flex on a forehand. And I put it way too high up in the air. I put it nose up. Didn't get the angle right. So it faded out pretty hard. Nose up. All sorts of wrong. The only good thing was I actually did manage to get far enough down the hole that I have somewhat of a look. It's not the best, but I can see the basket. There is a window, and I'm going to go for it. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to do a floaty hyzer and have it stall out and fall in. I decided I was going to go for the left side and try to anhyzer it through the trees. There's the basket. I got the anhyzer on it, and I floated right over the basket. It was a valid run. I can't be too upset about it. So looking at probably a 12-footer right here, easy par. So far, doing all right. Hole 15, par 3, 305 feet. This one is a sharp right to left. It almost kind of button hooks on itself. The play here is I'm going with my Opto Pioneer on just a spike hyzer. At least that's the plan. Unfortunately, I threw it way too low. Threw it low, didn't get it up in the air, so I went way too straight. I missed the fairway, and wound up on the right-hand side right here in all jail. Basket is dead center in the frame though, so I'm looking at probably outside circle 2, downhill putt. I told myself I really wasn't going to run this one because it is an extremely fast green. It does slope a lot, so this is kind of a, like, I wanted to, but this is kind of a halfway, like, meh. So it's scuttled right up next to the pole then. Simple tap in. I definitely stalled out a little bit now. So on to hole 16, 390 feet. This is another one of those shot shapes. It's high as a flip, dead straight, low ceiling. You really got to power a fairway driver, control driver, like straight into it. So I'm going with my Opto Striker on a hyzer flip. I think I might have been getting tired at this point too, which is probably why I was stalling out a little bit. That one did not even get to flat at all. So I wound up short left side, looking at probably another 45 footer, almost 50 footer. These kind of putts get tiring after a while just because it's a drain. You know, they're not the easiest to make sometimes. And at this part, this part of the round, I think I was, between the mugginess and having played Toboggan and then coming here, I think I might have been getting a little bit tired. Could see in my putting, it was more floaty, not necessarily committing to those lines like I usually would, and like I did in the beginning of the round. But catching another par, so no harm, no foul. Hole 17, par 4, 548 feet. It is a button hook. From where the short pad is, it is like to its 2 o'clock. So from where I'm throwing, it's like to my 4 o'clock almost. So I was going for just a big, like, hyzer flip turnover with my Opto Bolt. I wanted it up in the air so it would really, really hold that turn, and unfortunately I threw it way too low. So while it started to turn, it basically just fired itself straight into those bushes. Here you can see me heading off into jail. So basically where I'm going to end up is where those double trees are. I'm going to be basically even with them back in those bushes. I had absolutely nothing, so I kind of threw up a little bit of a prayer. You'll see here on the screen it's going to pop up. Forehand roller using my Opto Trident. Unfortunately, I hit way too vertical, so it wound up peeling out pretty fast. You can see as I spin you around here. There it is in the bottom right corner. So I didn't get nearly as close as I wanted to. So I'm left with this little, like, probably 150 upshot. So using my Retro Mercy. Just wanted to kind of line up a little Anheuser shot. Just kind of float my way down there and settle in, take my par. No problem. I knew I wasn't going to get that birdie anymore, so. And I pulled it. I put a little too much on it. It held the turn. Hit a tree short. So now I'm looking at probably, I think it was like a 35 footer or so. Heck of a tester putt then to try to save my par. It's too much hyzer. Not enough commitment, not enough follow through. So I'll be taking my bogey. Unfortunately, I kind of went by it a little too far. So this is a little bit of a tester. Was right side, but it stuck. I'm not too unhappy about it. It's taking my second bogey of the round. South course can really kind of get you without you paying attention. So hole 18 is a par 4, 634 feet. There you go. Little shout out to mitten bags because I needed mine like crazy because of the humidity. So the play here is actually a hyzer flip shot that kind of bends over to the right where that pine tree is. You want to miss the pine tree and continue forward. So I'm using a Ballista Pro. Unfortunately, I threw it on a hyzer, which is what you're not supposed to do.
But should be a fairly
so I wound up left side, which you'll see.
All right,
nothing
so not
but
really
these
in a good
trees.
spot. Basket's up
the
that
basket
way.
I'm showing you guys like where
Hopefully
it's
this
at.
works out.
I've got absolutely nothing. So I'm trying a little forehand roller with my trident, and unfortunately I caught a tree, peeled me off to the left.
All right, so this is what I'm looking at. I only got
showing you
like
where the
4% of my
basket is
battery,
because I'm
so
running out of
we're
battery,
gonna take this
so
shot and see where I end up.
Quickly take a shot.
Managed to
Which
split a gap
up.
just over there.
That's where I was
underneath the
throwing
trees.
from. So I actually got really
Skipped
lucky
up to
the
here.
gap, parked it.
Tap in 4.
Almost missed my tap.
There we have it.
Putt, but finished with the par. So there's a score. Shot 5 under. Started off really, really nicely. Really petered out though around the middle. Like I said, I felt like I was just getting tired, but I'm very happy with a -5 there on that course. I think that sits around a 990 to 1,000 rated round or so. Thank you to my sponsors. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe. Hopefully I'll get some more stuff out to you guys, okay?